There's only 12 people in the city we need to convince about this. They are the 11 members of the Board of Supervisors and the mayor. But you could not do any of this without at least one inspired, dedicated, vision-infused supervisor and leader. And we have that person today with us, marching arm in arm. It is a great pleasure to introduce the Honorable Ross Mirkarimi, Supervisor of the City and County.
I am deathly afraid that media democracy, as we know it, in San Francisco as well as in California and in the United States, is one of an endangered species. We've seen over the last 8.5 years, especially under the George W. Bush administration, the hacking away of public access throughout the United States. And we've seen where the FCC has accelerated and helped shepherd an obscene and absurd media concentration of power, where that media concentration of power has now resulted in the green light to media conglomerates like AT&T and Comcast here in California to even shore up their power by impacting municipalities throughout the state, such as in San Francisco. We understand that by taking our ability away in San Francisco to be able to regulate and to be able to shepherd the franchise agreements with local cable access, now it's up to the state, and the state is now protected by obscene federal law that allows very little bits of money then to be applied to local government just for capital equipment and facilities. Let me tell you, the way that this might sound that much complicated, the truth is that because of what has happened with state and federal law, it completely exacerbates class lines. The working class now have very little access because of the hacking away of public access. It is clear now that this very form of media democracy, because it is at risk from its complete survival, now we're undermining and thwarting the very medium access that people, ordinary citizens, have here in our city. This is completely counterintuitive to a way that we know San Francisco right now. This is why you must treat this campaign as if this is your last campaign. And we realize, as a member of the Budget Committee, somebody who's been on the Budget Committee for nearly 4 years, that while we're competing for such pressing needs of restoring services and defending services, certainly to those most vulnerable, it's also just as critical to refine our arguments to make sure that this particular service is not backseated because of how important every other service is that we're fighting for concurrently. So this is going to require an artful campaign. This is going to require a steadfast campaign. But more importantly, this is going to require the kind of ingenuity and the kind of lines drawn in the sand to make sure that what we have fought for the last several decades is not reversed because AT&T, Comcast, the FCC, or anyone else decides otherwise. In good company that when I hear President Obama say that he wants to restore access and certainly the availability for those who want to take advantage of the Freedom of Information Act, in the way that that had been hacked away by Republican administrations and other administrations as well, that also is a signal of the commitment from the federal government to restoring local access for the citizenry on public television. But that isn't here yet, and that is why that the timeline between now and June of this year, 2009, is so critical that the campaign we marshal and the words that we summon and the fight that we exact to make sure that even my most like-minded colleagues understand the crucial difference of what San Francisco is with or without public access is going to depend on the collective will of this group here and you to be able to resonate that message across all lines, no matter where you're coming from, ideologically or philosophically. It is that important, no matter what your political spectrum is. Left, right, conservative, it doesn't make a difference, or even if you are indifferent. It is about access. It is about transcending class and race lines. It is about the very foundation that restores the kind of democracy that allows us to perpetuate a message that it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with it. The important thing is that you have access, and access should never be denied. Thank you.